Nick Robinson here for Polygon, and the Nintendo Switch huge, big, crazy reveal event just wrapped up, and part of that event, the thing I was most excited by, is this trailer for Super Mario Odyssey, the new, seemingly open-world Mario platformer coming to the Nintendo Switch. Now, there is a lot of stuff in this trailer. I've only had time to watch it once, because the event literally just ended, but there was so much stuff I noticed in it that I kind of wanted to do a quick, super off-the-cuff video breaking down everything in it. And yeah, I'm just going to kind of talk my way through it. This is by no means exhaustive, by the way. I'm sure there are other parts of the internet that have done a much more robust job of breaking this down than I have, but I just kind of wanted to share my thoughts. So first, here's this vehicle. I don't think it has a name yet. This is, I guess, Mario Odyssey's equivalent of the face ship from Mario Galaxy 2. This is going to be the thing you use to travel from world to world. And right off the bat, there's just so much text in this sort of first kind of humanoid world here. There's Diddy's Mart, which I think is the first, well, actually the first thing that jumped out at everyone is New Donk City, which sounds kind of absurd and ridiculous until you start to piece things together. Namely, Diddy's Mart is located on the corner of Dixie Street and Cranky Street. The names of two members of the Kong family, which to me immediately made me think like, oh, maybe there's going to be a much bigger presence of the other members of the Donkey Kong family in this game than we normally get from a Mario. And I think that might be true, but I think that might be true specifically in this world, because, and I can't believe it took me this long to connect the dots, New Donk City is probably a reference to Donkey Kong, and it's sort of a Donkey Kong themed New York. I had one person on Twitter point out to me after I showed off the Dixie Cranky stuff, that maybe this is the New York that the original Donkey Kong takes place in. Maybe this is the skyscraper we see. That's one thing that makes sense. Another thing that kind of flashes by super quickly here is this taxi at the beginning of the trailer has 1981 ND meaning New Donk City, and then 1981 being the year Donkey Kong came out. So that kind of explains itself. And I haven't, it's funny, like being in the industry and kind of like working out of a remote newsroom, when you're watching stuff like this, I was looking away from most of this trailer, so I feel like a lot of this is new to me. But it's so, like, it's so weird. I'm sorry, I'm gonna keep coming back to this. I can't deal at all with Mario interacting with normal human beings. It's the most, like, ridiculous, absurd... Well, first, I mean, I also want to say, Mario looks great here. I mean, look at him. He looks excellent. It's one of the best-looking Marios I've ever seen. But as soon as he's in frame with another, like, living, normally proportioned human being, my body's natural reaction is to want to throw up. It's so weird. Espresso is also the name of a character, I think an enemy type in Donkey Kong. And I love seeing, like, these weird, like, the Mario wall jump physics in a very non-cartoonish environment. Like, I have no problem with Mario running around a city. I'm a little weirded out by seeing him stand next to other humans. Here's another better look at that ship. And you'll notice that, like, almost every billboard in this fake New York, in New Donk City, says New Donk City, kind of all over it. Which is a little weird, but whatever. And then from here we kind of get to see a few other, almost more normal Mario worlds. We see this roll move. This is kind of the area that we got to see like 5 or 6 seconds of in the Nintendo Switch like original reveal. You remember that first trailer that showed off the hardware for the first time? We sort of saw this like deserty fiesta, Day of the Dead vibe skeleton land. Look at these little skeleton fellas. Look at them. I think they're adorable, and I just love how colorful this is. Now, interestingly, there's this Crazy Cap like retail store that I'm piecing this together now literally as I say it. You see that at the very beginning of the trailer. It's the first thing you see is this Crazy Cap thing. This and it's kind of now that I look at it, it says go cap crazy down there. It's the hat with the eyes on it, but the logo is also CC for Crazy Cap, but it's also the eyes. That's good logo design right there. And I'm assuming that has something to do with the weird hat we see at the very end of this trailer. Now, one thing that I really like is that it seems like the moveset is predominantly pulled from Super Mario 3D Land, Super Mario 3D World, which I think are two of the best games Nintendo's made in the past 15 years. You'll notice that as soon as Mario jumps out of the sewer here, which I think is like a cute play on the warp pipe thing, obviously, he does this like charged up running thing, this like sprint here. You'll see it right there. The running in place animation, which is something that comes from Super Mario 3D Land, Super Mario 3D World. If you ever hold down the run button without moving, because those are the first 3D Mario games that have a run button, he kind of does that run in place thing. Now, that roll move is absolutely new. That is not in 3D Land or 3D World. Nor are these, like, triangle collectibles. There's a lot of, like, weird, non-standard collectibles. There's, like, rings and geometric shapes. There's kind of that airplane stance he does with his arms that we saw in the early trailer. There's some sort of nuts and bolts, some, like, gears and stuff. But then you've also got, like, P-switches. There's a checkpoint flag that you see earlier that is also like right out of contemporary Mario games. I want to talk a little bit about this fork chef man. I don't really have much to say about him other than that he exists. He has friends. God, this game's gorgeous. I'm something I've come to realize about myself over the past like decade is that Mario games are just my favorite thing about being alive. Like 3D, I'm currently playing through 3D Land for like the 3rd time right now, and it's so damn good. Look at Mario shivering. And there's a lot of stuff in this that, God, that scene right there is just about the worst thing in the world. I can't deal with Mario jump roping with normal human beings. It's so distressing to me on a fundamental level. A lot of people I've seen point out have like compared it to this, like, it's kind of got Sonic Adventure vibes or Sonic 2016 vibes if we want to get really mean about it. It's just disgusting. I relate strongly to this gentleman in the middle who just kind of turns his back on this whole affair. I don't know. I don't know what I want from that. I'm getting like one thing that really stood out to me about this too is just like the environment seems so big. Like there's so many areas where you see these huge, enormous, trailing, like huge draw distance like areas, and it almost feels like Breath of the Wild to me. And maybe I'm just saying that because Mario shivering reminds me of when I played Breath of the Wild at E3 this year, took off all of Link's clothes and made him shiver, which you can also see on our YouTube channel. That's the other closest thing to Switch gameplay we have at this early date. This Bowser is super interesting to me. Not only does he look super fresh, obviously, but like it kind of reminds me of, this is pretty obscure, there was this Mario promotion, I think around the time they announced the new Nintendo 3DS, where they had Chiari Pamu and like she designed or co-designed faceplates for the new 3DS, and that campaign had like these really snappily dressed Mario characters, including Bowser. This reminds me of that Bowser. I love that move right there. That is such an awesome thing to have in Mario's arsenal. So he can throw his hat now. That's obviously new, like a boomerang. But then you can use that as a platform, which I think is sick. I think it even, what does it say here? Is that also just says New Donk? It just says New Donk all over the city. I also love in New Donk City that all the traffic lights are just question mark blocks. I think that's just a cute touch. One thing that ties it back to Mario. Yeah, it's so interesting because like if you showed someone very specific moments in this trailer, I think they would compare it to like Mario Galaxy or Mario 3D World, and then you like it's this weird blend of that style and this very like new contemporary style and this weird like level design we haven't seen before. Now these tanks with hats, I just love like the multicolored smoke cloud trails on these bullets they're shooting. There's a lot of stuff in here for like a Bowser and Peach royal wedding, and Mario is just staring at in the rain sadly, which is a kind of a weird vibe. Yeah, crushing his hat right in front of him. He likes that. What are these? So, all right, we've got a small squadron of bunny folk here. It's kind of cool to see like boss battles in the traditional sense, because I feel like new Super Mario 3D World had boss battles, but these feel more like in line with something like the boss battles you might have seen in Sunshine, just based on like this editing, or even Galaxy, which is cool. God, I'm so over the moon thrilled for this game. It's like embarrassing. But yeah, there's the logo. It's a great logo. And then there's this kind of stinger at the end. There's a whole sort of like world traveling aesthetic to this between the airplane stuff, the globe, and the logo. But yeah, I kind of want to, my biggest question mark, I think, is definitely the Crazy Caps thing, and like if that's going to be this game's version of costumes for Mario. Like I want to know what other hats there are besides this one, because at one point in the trailer we do see him walk into one of those places like it's a shop, which I think is interesting. I want to know what that means for Mario and his iconic cap. But yeah, that was just sort of a quick, super off the cuff look at the trailer for Super Mario Odyssey. This is no bullshit my most anticipated video game right now. And yeah, I'm sure there's a million things I missed. So if there's something really cool in this trailer that stood out to you that I didn't notice or that you read somewhere else, like leave it in the comments below, because I am going to be obsessively poring over this thing for, I guess, between now and holiday 2017 when this game is due to come out. But yeah, I've been Nick Robinson for Polygon, and thank you so much for watching.